we haven't spoken this year.
Not at all. This is the first
my
time.
goodness, that's
This is
so
the
bad.
first time. This is the 16th day of the year.
Happy New Year to your crew, Nancy, and that lawyer. I don't remember his name.
That lawyer.
My learned friend.
Okay. Well,
Happy New Year.
Then first let's start with I'm not. Have you seen a statement?
I've seen a letter supposed to have been signed by the ambassador of Ghana, Mr. Peter Smith.
Okay. Oh, do you have any observations to share?
I don't think I have any eyes to be able to see anything beyond what is obvious on the face of the letter.
But explain to us first the matter of the extradition, because they say they received a request in July 2024, which they have been pursuing and finally got her and are detaining her. Explain to us how this process is supposed to work.
Well, the little information I have is that the request was made by the previous Attorney General sometime in 2024 to the U.S. government. And in furtherance of that request, the lady was apprehended and kept in detention. What we are also gathering from the letter and other surrounding information is that the lady Sedina will be brought to a U.S. court within the state of Nevada. Of course, there will be a hearing. If you observe, a similar request was made by the U.S. government in respect of the gentleman called is the Abutrika.
Yes.
Okay. So Abutrika, I understand, has appeared before court or is yet to appear before court in respect of the extradition hearing.
In fact, I think he's been before court on a couple of occasions.
Okay. Probably in respect of certain offenses jointly with others. Okay. So basically the extradition hearing will take place before a judge or magistrate, in order that any questions raised by the individual involved will be given that right of hearing to determine whether a case or a proper case for that extradition has been made before the request is effected.
You're saying that it's just possible that she can defend herself against this?
Yes. You see, unlike the Honorable Kenoforiata case, where the arrest is in respect of immigration violations, I guess, because that was an arrest effected by a group often referred to as ICE, that's the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, in relation to immigration offenses. This detention of Sedina is in respect of a request made by the government of Ghana. And U.S. government has that obligation to respond to such a request. But the request is not one that simply when an arrest is effected, the individual is quickly bundled and put on a plane and delivered to the requesting country. There must be due process requirements that require that there will be a hearing on the merits before a court of competent jurisdiction.
So we must show. And I'm wondering, it's a judgment not enough? A judgment of a court being produced, not enough?
Not necessarily so. Not necessarily so, because remember that the validity of the judgment in question and the conviction and sentence in question is determined by Ghanaian law.
Okay.
However, due process requirements with respect to establishing a proper case for an extradition request to be confirmed by a court still have those processes are governed by the host country. I should call it a host country, the country whose to whom the request is made. In this case, U.S. U.S. will have to look at the various requirements in terms of due process in order for the court to confirm the request in an order before it is carried out.
And I'm wondering under what circumstances perhaps the U.S. authorities can, because I realize Abutrika is also going through the same process. Under what circumstances they can decide that the court can perhaps deny this request?
Remember that the request is not an order. And that is why it's called a request, because no country has an extra territorial jurisdiction over another sovereign country. And that is the reason it's called a request. But the final decision to accede to that request is with the host country, whose courts have prerogative to make the order. For very good reasons, a court can decline to make an order confirming the request. For instance, if it is obvious that the individual will not receive both procedural and substantive justice by the that request may be declined by a court in appropriate cases.
I see. So this is by no means a settled matter yet.
It is not. Oh yes, we'll have their day in court. We'll have their day in court. And although the U.S. court may not have the full fact of the circumstances of trial and absentia and conviction and sentence, the court, her lawyers are made a case where they will then open up that judgment in its entirety as a basis to urge on the court to decline the request.
I see. Quite interesting. So there's quite a lot to look forward to before we get to the point of...
These safeguards are all put there in order not to allow the state to have such an overbearing power. Remember that the final judicial power in all countries, civilized countries, rests with the court and not with the executive arm of government. These are all checks and balances that are essential elements of any thriving democracy.
Okay. But another question that comes to mind, in case we are able to scale the hurdle of convincing the U.S. authority to extradite her, bring her to Ghana, when she lands in Ghana, does it mean that she is headed straight for the prisons? What happens?
I'll be wearing two caps and pretend to be either or both of them. Of course, if I'm wearing the cap of the Attorney General, which I'm not, of course, there is a conviction and there is a sentence. And as long as that has not been overturned by any court of substance jurisdiction subsequent to the decision, yes, she will be on her way to prison. But there are procedures administratively before she is taken to the prison, because there must be those remand warrants or whatever warrants that will enable the prison authorities to admit anybody to any facility called a prison. That has to be carried out administratively through the court and the prosecution. The prosecution, that's the state, will have to take steps to have all those processes concluded. Secondly, if I now turn to Sedina's legal team or defense team, of course, here in Ghana, they will still mount a defense. It is possible for them to file an appeal, although she was trying absentia. She may have been deemed to have waived the right to be heard. However, so long as she was not convicted on the basis of her plea of guilt, she is entitled to seek leave or to file an appeal, because in criminal cases, time limitations placed on appeals are flexible. Although it's within a month, extension of time is ordinarily granted in all cases where the lawyers could seek an extension of time to file an appeal, and thereupon even file either a stay of execution or bail pending appeal, and make a strong case for bail to be granted her while she challenges the decision in any court of competent jurisdiction. So there are so many remedies available to her when she, in the event that she's brought down on this extradition request.
Always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senna. My pleasure too.
Lawyer David Ametefe'S, a private legal practitioner, speaking to us on this issue. Of course, we were just telling you about the issue of the extradition request that was made in July 2024. According to the embassy in the U.S., Ghana's embassy in the U.S., an ambassador issued this statement. They've received information from the U.S. authorities that U.S. Marshals have actually picked up Mrs. Sedina Tamakloe, and she's currently being detained in Nevada, where she will subsequently face a magistrate court, on this extradition request. So that's one step to scale before we can get to the point where they'll say she should come down. The U.S. authorities will grant that request. That's another issue. But don't forget, in case you do not know, under the former administration, the past administration, led by Godfrey Yeboah Dami, they secured a conviction and a sentence against her in a court over some issues raised in line with her tenure as head of Marshals. So that conviction was secured, but she was not in Ghana at the time to serve the sentence. So they actually made an extradition request to the U.S. authorities that if you find her, send her back to come and serve that sentence that has been handed down by a court of competent jurisdiction in Ghana. So we're just speaking to Lawyer David Ametefe'S about what to expect from this process. And if you're struggling with vision problems or headaches, Third Eye Care Vision Center offers comprehensive eye solutions from new glasses to advanced diagnostics, skill optometrists, and modern